Yes, call to order 6:10.
All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order. Motion, I have 6:12 p.m. Does everybody have an agenda? Because I have a printed if you don't. Everybody does?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so, first off is John.
Oh, the TerraCycle, yeah.
Yes, I was trying to remember what it was, like I should know, but
Thanks for doing that, Jan.
Oh, my pleasure. So, Dave, you brought that to our attention. So I did call, the company. And, what I found out, there's another little sheet here. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. Obviously, if you want to actually do a collection, at no cost to the town, we have to provide our own boxes. And like decorate them or whatever, but you can still get the downloadable mailer to mail everything back.
Right.
So that's one way you can do it. It really isn't a heck of a lot of work, but my biggest thing was I wanted to check with Rebecca about this because it seems to me that town hall makes the most sense to have a collection box, and I want to make sure before we really do something that we know that there is space for that, or space for a few. So that's one concern that I had. So somebody would definitely have to monitor them to make sure that once it was almost full, that it was taken, mailed back, and another box was put in its place. Because you're actually a collection public drop off when you do this. So somebody, say from West Newbury, might know that Groveland has a drop off box. And they need to know on their website, they put the hours that town hall is open and
Right.
there's a liaison. So that's not difficult to do either. And I thought that it might be a good way to start is like the Toms of Maine, which includes toothpaste tubes, mouthwash bottles and caps and deodorant containers. And then the Gillette is another one. But as I was saying, I want to make sure Rebecca weighs in on it before we vote on trying to do it as a pilot, just to make sure the town hall is the best place.
And who would monitor?
I don't mind monitoring, I mean, I'm here. all
Well,
the time.
here's my thought. Board of Health has a paid employee. So a paid person could monitor it.
That's true too.
Mhm.
I
Who's
just would
on?
need to know what location you would like to, is it like a container that you would want to have inside the building, or is it a container that would be outside the building? Because my office can monitor it if the Board of Health cannot not monitor that's an easy thing. I can actually ask the facilities guy to, the facility supervisor to take a look at it as well to make sure that everything's in order. I just
Well,
didn't
I
know
mean, so then would the facilities guy, Steve, then be the person mailing it? Because that's the thing. If it's monitored, then the person monitoring would be doing the mailing, right?
Would have
So
to
the
be
monitor would also take the collections and then they would mail it out to a place. Is that what it is? I'm just trying to follow what the process is. Is that what it is?
I mean, I started an application process just so I could see, what was required. And basically, the person who puts in their profile is the person who's going to be responsible. Because you're going to have access to downloading the mailing form and everything. So, and the phone number would be at town hall.
You can do that. My office
you
can
can
do
do
that.
it.
If the Board of Health can, that would be fine as well, but I would have no problem doing that. It's minimal in nature.
Yeah, but Rebecca, why would you want to take this on if somebody else can do it?
It's your call. I just meant if I know that the Board of Health is short-staffed, so I'm more than willing to do something of this nature to make sure that we can move forward with this pilot program and see if it's successful and give the town an opportunity to take advantage.
Right, I'm just saying, I'm willing to be the point person. I'm willing to do that if, you want me to take it off of you. If you want to be the point person, the thing that makes sense about that is you are here at town hall if somebody has questions and they call the number, you are here. But I think that we can all pitch in on making sure there's a box available to slide in when the other one gets mailed out. You know what I mean? It can definitely be a group effort. But again, its space is the one thing I was concerned about, it would have to be inside because it's a cardboard box. You can't leave it out to the elements. And
I
you
think
know,
we
would
could
have
make space for
a
it in the
decent
town hall.
spot. You know, so it wouldn't look, you don't want it to look really messy, but you want it to be visible.
Yeah, we can do that. We can accommodate that. That's
Okay.
not-
I kind of feel like it has to be through the town hall because if it's being mailed out and it's collected in the town, the responsibility has to be here.
Don't the Boy Scouts have some sort of flag collection box? Couldn't it be?
Well, they have to ask permission to put their
Yeah.
boxes in.
No, but I mean, like,
Well,
just as precedence, I guess, that we could.
well, I mean, if
have
you're
something
going
out
out a
as classy as
collection
well.
box in here, it's the town's responsibility. So do you have just one box and you throw everything in the same box or do you?
They're
separate?
separate boxes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The
That's
picture you
what that-
showed had little
right.
kitty.
As I said, like, if we did a Towns of Maine box, you would take any toothpaste tube,
Okay,
it would take deodorant,
That's pretty cool.
containers.
yeah,
But then you would, if you did Gillette, you'd have to have a separate one for razors. You wouldn't mix.
why don't we leave the
Single-use
razors off to
razors.
the side for a little bit?
I was saying, I don't even know if there's a waiting list to do Tom's of Maine or not, because I couldn't get far enough into the application
Oh, okay,
process.
so
I
Rebecca,
didn't, because
yeah.
I'm not really the applicant. I
Yeah.
just did like a test application to get as much information as possible.
So we would have to
So-
buy or create the collection boxes, that's what you said, right? And the
Right,
town has to apply to
right,
see what's
right.
available.
It's a simple application.
Okay,
process.
I thought TerraCycle provided the boxes.
You
If
have
you
to
re-
pay for them.
How much are they?
Well, that's what we can look into and see if it's, but if, as I said before, if we want to have no cost to the town, we have to provide our own.
I mean, I'll check. I'm out of the office this week, but I'll check. I think the cost for the boxes was nominal.
I think it was really cheap,
okay.
like $100 or something.
But the town has to apply to, who are they applying to, this?
TerraCycle.
Yeah, I can go over it with.
Oh,
Rebecca.
okay, and so you can go over that with
Yeah.
Rebecca, right? And that would get that rolling.
It's pretty simple,
Okay, so.
but they do have, you know, an 800 number. If you have questions, just, you know, any kind of question, they're pretty responsive. I talked to somebody named Stephanie and she was very helpful.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I would move that we go forward with this and at least do a pilot. and
Yeah. Do you want to make a
So,
motion that we're gonna roll forward? Let's just start.
Well, I guess I just want to make sure we know.
Well, we're gonna go through the application and see what it looks like.
Okay,
I mean, yeah.
because I figure
And then
I
we
hate
can-
adding another thing to Rebecca's pile. So I figured, you know, if we could,
But she now has Annie too, so I mean, it's,
she is Annie too. The Board of Health agent isn't in the town hall at least.
She's in the town hall, but she's not here.
all the.
She's here 17 hours a week and she's out in the field doing inspections and things like
This
that.
is gonna be a weekly mail-in thing.
No,
It's not gonna be a weekly mailing thing. It's probably something that you're looking at
Well-
maybe
no,
once a
but I
month.
think we can
depending
all,
upon-
oh, I mean, every time I come in, I can see, oh, geez, almost full. We need another box or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm more than willing to.
But what I'd like to see, I think this is worth looking into. For it to
Right.
look into, we need a motion and a vote from this committee.
Motion to move forward on
I
TerraCycle.
did make a motion, but
Oh, you did?
I
Second,
did.
She second. Okay, so the motion is made by Jen, seconded by Stephanie to move forward. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous, one absent. So the vote is just to move forward.
Yep.
Okay? And that will be up to Jen and Rebecca to figure out and report back at our next meeting of how far you got and what it looks like.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That, we're making progress. And I know you're putting this in the minutes too, Stephanie, but it helps me to know if we made a decision when I look at the next agenda. So we'll put this on the next agenda as well. Thanks. Thanks for looking into that, Jen. That was
You're
a lot.
welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, so. Okay, so we're, I think I sent out, God, I sent out and I posted on our website. And I don't have it printed out with me, so maybe I'll go look at it. I went through like, one of those brain spirals. Nope, that's what, the thing of, before I did the comparison thing, I went through a thing where I just, thought of all the different concerns, it was like it was a list. That's just an email.
you posted it on the,
Well, yeah, it's in our website. I'm going in there now to look at for it. Let me just see.
This one, the consideration.
Yes,
You
thank
want to
you.
borrow mine so you don't have to?
Yeah, thank
can
you.
we make a copy actually?
Yeah, make
That makes sense. The
Thank you,
computer's right
because that was kind of
Thank
like
you,
my,
Stephanie.
I did a freewheeling thing where I just said, okay, these are all the things that I've been coming across, we've been talking about. And then I kind of zoomed it in and I started to condense that big spreadsheet into this much smaller comparison. And if you want to add another town or two from the big sheet, fine. But I feel like having 10 towns isn't as helpful to us as having the top 3 or 4 that we think have something going on that we're interested in. You know, starting to narrow our scope of review.
Right.
I mean, Georgetown, I dismissed because they have the transfer station, and I don't think we have any interest in pursuing the transfer station. I don't know if people wanted to vote that.
Actually.
Yeah, if people wanted to vote that we're not going to consider a transfer station, I'm fine with that. If you want to, or you just want to say no. I mean, to me, everything I read about transfer stations and where they're going, this is not a good idea for the town of Groveland.
Wait, can you say this again? Sorry.
The idea of a transfer station, I mean, I can go back and get the more literature on it, but I've been reading a lot from other towns, articles and things about what's going on over in Georgetown and concerns that they have over there environmentally with their transfer station. I think we just would be importing a lot of headaches and concerns that we don't need to. In order to get a really great, contract together that is environmentally sensitive, cost effective, and serves the public. I don't think we need to go look at a transfer station as one of the options. I think that would create far more work for the town.
When you say transfer station, are you looking at a traditional transfer station where trash trucks come in and dump trash and they sort it and transfer it out, or?
Anything that would involve anybody bringing, other than what we do right now with just the brush,
So
any expansion on that, I would,
I'm thinking of what they do on the Cape.
I've been to that,
So they traditionally call it a dump,
yes.
but it's not a dump.
Yes.
It's set up in multiple facets. It's, you take your trash, it goes into a dumpster, a
Yes.
massive dumpster. You take your recycling and it's all sorted out into different areas. They have a swap shop or a swap meet where you can take things down that are useful that people may want. You can trade them in there,
Yes.
leave them and people can use them. Now, if you're talking about that, then I might, if people were interested, I might be interested in something like that. But if you're talking about a transfer station of the traditional
Yes.
transfer station type, which is what is in Georgetown, I would say there's no need for one in Groveland if there's one in Georgetown.
Okay, I would say either or. I think that what I'm looking at is what are people used to doing right now? And how much can we move them in the next contract towards, again, a lower cost, more environmentally sensitive way of managing trash. And I think that with the addition of 190 apartments, now granted, they'll be taking care of their own trash, but to take all the other residents and start saying you have to pick your day to go to the dump, then we have to set all that, I mean, that's a lot.
I mean, it could be, yeah,
Yeah, that's.
but
no,
it's a
that-
lot different than a transfer station. is all I'm
Right, but
saying.
again, I kind of went through those read articles about different towns that are still kind of using some of that and just said, no, that would be a lot to manage and to try to take on. If they wanted to someday make a regional transfer station for some of the big items that people want to get rid of or something, or if we want to look at mattresses and doing something here that would help with that, yes, but to take away, people want their curbside pickup.
Oh, I don't disagree, but I don't know that I'm ready to rule out something that might be, change the effective nature of reducing a budget item
Okay. I
like
get
that. So I mean,
You want to put it off on the side of the table.
I just wouldn't be ready to make a vote on it at this point.
Okay.
If people want to vote on it, then I'm a no vote at this point.
Fair enough. No, I respect that. I think that's,
So-
so we'll put it to the side of the table for now and focus on the.
I mean, I think, like I said,
Okay,
listen, I went through a site assignment for a transfer station in Salem many years ago, and it's
Yeah.
contentious, it's ugly.
Mhm.
It can be, it can have its benefits and it can have, it has its, negative sides to it.
yeah.
But where you have a transfer station where they're looking to enlarge to 500 tons a day, right in the town next door. I don't think a transfer station of, like I said, where a trash truck comes, dumps the trash, it gets sorted and then gets pushed off to other dumps and landfills. You don't need that in Groveland. You have one right next door.
Right, but I mean, the one next door, the things that I read was, there are some environmental concerns around it, surrounding it. I didn't get into it too deep.
I'm sure there are a lot of.
But the other thing is that they shut down at will when they've reached capacity for the day.
That's a standard condition on any
Okay.
transfer station.
Well, okay, so I mean, to me, that's what put it way to the side of the table, because people would get up, get their car loaded up and get there and done, no, come back another day. I'm trying to work with people's expectations too in Groveland, that they think,
Well, I don't
Yeah.
think, when you talk about a transfer station, I don't think you're talking about eliminating curbside pickup either.
okay,
You know, curbside pickup is still conducted in Georgetown, from what I understand, even with the transfer station.
right, so they just
Yeah.
bring some things to the transfer
Right.
station.
Right.
So,
Did they vote that? This,
I
Increase
believe
in
they
capacity.
did, but I don't know for sure. I
Okay.
didn't follow it closely.
so if if you want to do more, I looked at it, if you want to dig out more about Georgetown, I did some reading on it and I just was like, no, but feel free to pull up information and we can add it
I'll
to
see what
this.
I can find
We
out.
can expand, we can just show it, maybe it'd be a good idea, because other people might say the same thing that you're saying, why didn't you look at this? So.
A transfer station,
Mhm.
you know, that
Okay.
when I think of a transfer station, I think about what I went through. This was not for residents. This was for trash trucks to come
Okay, yeah,
and dump trash.
no, we don't want that,
And I would say that most people in town are not gonna want that.
no,
And.
Yeah.
You know, you have a site locally that you can go to and get rid of. Construction debris or bulk items or whatever the case may be. I do think that there is an opportunity to get rid of some bulk items here locally that they don't have to go and spend exorbitant fees on. At Mellow in
yes,
Georgetown,
yes,
that I think we can enact here pretty reasonably and pretty quickly, but. You know, I don't think that we need to cite a transfer station in Groveland of the
oh,
traditional nature.
us using the Georgetown transfer station. as part
Potentially.
of our plan.
Potentially, or, you know, if it came down to it and, you know, we're looking at
Yeah, I have
a
the-
$1 million contract potentially a year. If it came down to saying, you know, to save that $1 million, are people willing to take their trash to the dump instead? And people said, yeah, we'll do that, then why wouldn't we consider that?
I'm just trying to think what under
It's just a thought.
Georgetown. I have, okay, so yeah, so I have I can't print it from here, but I have their list of items, so this is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So a sofa, a recliner, to take you to the transfer station is $10. To have a curbside pickup is $35. A sofa sleeper, transfer station
Yeah, but
$15.
for us to take something over there, it's probably more because we don't live there.
Right, so we'd have to
you
find
know,
out.
I looked into taking a mattress and box spring there and it was $75 a unit.
Oh, because right here it says $15.
Yeah, well, I pulled up and they told me $75 and I said, well, I'm not paying $75.
Okay,
As a matter of fact, I took it to my brother's house in New Hampshire where they pick it up twice a year for free, all kinds of bulk items.
Be a good thing to find out if they
Okay.
charge, if Georgetown people get
Okay.
a discounted rate, that would be a good thing to find out.
so you would want to know if we could get in on that list, that are cost list.
I think there are other things that we can do curbside that people can get a cheaper rate on.
Oh,
I know off the top of my head that the
okay, okay,
Tough Stuff Recycling offers a curbside rate for Groveland residents that is more reasonable than that.
for these kind of items.
For mattresses off
Humidifier,
the top of my head.
Dishwasher.
Tough
gas
Stuff is
stove.
mattress recycling only.
Oh,
I know that. It's like
This-
$40 a unit.
This is like
So-
a ride-on mower, a snow blower, car batteries. Boy, they really take a lot, but that is their list for people that live in Groveland. Okay, so
Alright,
your
George.
point is that we should see. I mean, you just found out that for us to go into Georgetown is expensive right now.
Yeah, what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that I don't think we should rule out. You know, some sort of an alternative to curbside collection if it saves the town money and the residents are willing to do it. And if that means some sort of I'm gonna call it a dump for a lack of a better word, but a dump, then we should consider that. And I think the residents should consider that, but you know, if it means saving the town potentially $1 million a year, I think that's a good thing.
Okay, but if we can show a contract that saves quite a bit.
You're talking about having a trash company come in and bring dumpsters in and out as opposed to curbside recycling and tonnage disposal and, I would imagine there's gonna be a tonnage fee for that, but it's probably gonna be less than what you're getting now.
I just keep getting back to like this list from Georgetown says up to 25 gallons of household trash. It's only $1. And you're like, oh, that's cheap, but you're gonna have to get in your car with your trash and get in line. And hope that you can get in that day.
Well, what we're talking about is a facility for,
Not everybody has the ability to.
what we're talking about is a place for Groveland residents. We're not talking about a place for the entire region, which
No.
is what Mellow is. And Mellow is a region.
Before.
But I mean, I
So-
see the line at in Georgetown. and they're
All my point is that
Yeah.
if we're gonna vote on ruling out a dump completely tonight, my vote would be no.
Okay,
So
Were we gonna vote on that?
Yeah,
I don't know, I mean, we've been.
you asked if we were gonna vote on it. That's
Right,
why
did.
I brought it up.
Yeah, because I'm trying to narrow
I think
down
it's
what we're actually
important to-
considering.
Yeah, I think it is important to have the definitions correct in everybody's head too. Like, a place like Mellow is not used by Georgetown as a dump. Because
Well, they're
they
bringing
have,
trash there
they still
too.
have curbside. People don't drive, they
Well, I
have
guess
curbside, don't
you must be able to opt out of the curbside, I
they?
guess.
Maybe.
Because right now I'm looking at
They-
household trash, transfer station charge $1 for 25 gallons.
So maybe there just needs to be a little more research on this, which I think is very valid to
Okay,
do. you
yeah.
know? Very valid to do more
Yeah.
research.
My understanding is Mellow is a transfer station. It's not the type of dump that I'm thinking of. And if you've been to the Cape and you've been to one of the
I have,
town
I've been to
dumps,
one South Yarmouth, I know.
yeah,
that's
so
what
have
I'm
I,
saying.
It's
numerous
important that-
times.
I
But,
understand what we're talking about.
but it's a much lower population, 9 months of the year there, so you're not dealing with.
Maybe
and
so.
The kind of
but-
work schedules and the population that we have here, and especially with the growth in the town. Coming our way,
Okay,
you
all
know,
right.
but,
So definitely something
Um,
to be looking into.
yeah, I think there was another town, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, that still has. Oh my God, I'm probably gonna be wrong, it might be somebody, Hamilton, or someone else still had some element of a transfer station. In the North Shore, and I'll have to look back and find it. But that big, and Rebecca, have you been on the shared folder at all?
Not lately, I
Okay,
mean,
because Rebecca shared the environmental protection, whatever, they gave us like the giant list of everything and anybody. So anywhere there's a transfer station, it's gonna be on that list. So
I
anything
mean,
we
I'm
wanna
familiar
know.
with the
we should be
transfer
able to
station
know.
list and
Yeah, so we're gonna check it's the DEP list, I think. It would have that, it's a big, giant, like it's every town in the state is on it.
Yeah.
And it goes on forever, but we could pull out and look at it, it's just, I feel like. Well, we'll see, we'll look through, we'll move on, let's consider what else we have for options. So I'm just looking down this little brain thing I was doing, I just couldn't.
So we definitively settled
Um,
on this 96-gallon recycling cart
I'm leaning towards it, I think, we
purely for
definitely,
the bi-weekly.
if you go bi-weekly, I think you'll to. Yeah, and I think bi-weekly is a good idea with recycling, because if you think about what you're putting in there. You know, how much you're gonna have. If you have that, that tall container, you should be able to get through 2 weeks. And,
I guess I'd like to find out
well,
if they've had issues with people being able to manage the size of the cart.
yes, in that email from West Newbury, from the Board of Health.
One gentleman that had a difficult time getting the
Yes,
cart up,
so
and I had
they
the
were able
same
to
response
do-
from Boxford.
He had a long driveway and he said it was too big to.
She couldn't even get it on her little golf
Right,
cart.
so they gave him 2 smaller ones. So
Okay.
somebody with like my old house in Market Woods, it's 500-foot driveway, a nightmare. All up a hill.
Yeah.
Somebody, I used to drive the cans up, if you were intent on wheeling them up, you might feel like it's a little much.
So even the smaller size, there's no problem having it picked up.
No,
So
as long as
that's
it's the automatic bin.
Right, the same, the style.
Cause I happen to be behind the trash truck on Stacy's curve on Main Street, and they were trying to pick up at a house, and he had to get out, he had to look at the carts, cause he couldn't figure out whether he could or you know, we're taking that, if we go to the carts, that will be taken away because,
Right.
and I put pictures up in that shared folder of how you're supposed to place your carts.
Right.
3 feet apart,
Yeah.
da, 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 not tipped on their side.
And
Not
the
with
cover
top.
keeps everything dry. which
Right,
is
and the
really-
cover
Yeah.
has to be
Yeah.
closed.
Okay.
All those things, because that's the whole point.
Right,
And so we're pretty sure those could be exchanged if they were particular place.
If it was a hardship for somebody.
Okay,
Yeah, because they did it, and, you know, West Newbury. I don't see why not. We
okay.
could go to the 32, I think is the smallest, but they
I would
can
love
pick
to
up.
see though how much they saved by doing bi-weekly.
Well, I'd have to go back to one of the old charts I wrote it down.
Yeah, okay.
Because I have the newer costs on this new chart, which I just gave.
It must
tonight.
be a significant savings.
So if you, I mean, Rebecca might know better. I'm thinking they're like 17 or 1800 households in West Newbury, maybe. Somewhere around there,
Like 1,600.
1600, okay. So there, and we're like 23 or 2400.
Yes, around there, yes.
Yeah, okay. That's, so you can prorate a little bit in your head if you wanted to kind of see, like, it wouldn't even be 1.5 times as much the pickup cost, but look at those costs. And also take a look at Boxford started out with one company and then switched.
Right,
And in reading their reports, what I did is I put under in the shared folder, I changed what Rebecca did, sorry, just to make it simpler, I put all the contracts and all the summaries and discussions, whatever the town had available on that contract in the folder under
Yeah.
contracts. So I read through some of the Boxford discussions, what led them to start with waste management and switch. And one of the sticking points was this formula for recycling that you paid if the cost of recycling exceeded they call the company fee or the processing fee, then you paid 100%. But then when the recycling ever swung the other way, you only got 50% of the savings. And they tried to negotiate that and were unable to. In the case of West Newbury, what they've done is contract, and you'll see in that email, that's why I printed it out, because I wanted to make sure I was understanding how they did the contract, that they just contracted for hauling. So Mello is the hauler, if you will,
Mhm.
and then they contracted directly with the recycling center. And the recycling center sends the bill to Mello, and Mello simply forwards it. They don't do anything with it, they don't process anything. They forward it to West Newbury, and the same with the trash, the tonnage fee. So, the one thing I didn't print out, let me see if I can show it to you, is she showed me an invoice, on the cost. And well, you can see on this chart, I put down, I think, or it's in the email too. The cost for their recycling is ranging between $48 and $78 in the year that she sent me the information for. And if you know our
That's
contract,
cheaper than those.
our contract starts with a processing fee of what? $100 is it for recycling, Rebecca? It's around there, right? Oh, I think we just lost
Right.
it.
So it's
It's like
103.
100. Yeah, that's the processing fee. It doesn't have anything to do with recycling costs going up and down. Then we pay in addition to that. So think about the
Per
math
person?
No.
per ton of
Per
recycling.
ton, okay.
So in other words, every ton of recycling, we're already paying as much as we do for a ton of trash. Plus, when the recycling is above the processing fee, we're paying that too. And this contract that West Newbury West Newbury just began on, the year that I reviewed, what they paid per ton for the recycling started with a low of $48.35 and ran to a high of $78.23. Now, that's not to say that in the future,
Right,
could the
things
recycling
change.
costs go up? Sure, but it could also go down. So they've kind of peg themselves. They don't have a lot of these fees that we have. There's no contamination fee listed in the contract. There's no resident.
Oh, really?
Correct, yes. They can cancel, either side can get out of this contract
At
pretty,
will.
pretty
Contract-
well, pretty quickly, but the terms aren't too stringent. I mean, there is a way out if you need out.
Okay,
But there's not a lot of extra fees. And their trash cost per ton is tagged to the consumer price index for how much it goes up every year. Now, that's different from Boxford's, which goes up 4% a year in their new contract. So it's like, pick your poison on that one, I guess.
They have the same company though, right?
They should, yes, but for them, I think Mellow is their everything. So I'm still kind of going back and forth and sorting this out. West Newbury, like I said, I sent that email to get clarification that they pay Mellow just to haul.
West Newbury.
That's just for hauling. So,
So what's the Covanta?
say it again,
On
So-
here.
yeah, that.
Wait, but who's Covanta?
Oh, that's what
Well, this is the incinerator. and
that's an
Danville.
incinerator. I know, I realized that after I put that as a company.
Oh,
That's the-
okay,
So,
okay, that's
so
what
it's not
confused me.
actually, the recycling place is, another name that's like that. I will get it corrected. Thank you.
Oh, okay,
You're right, conventions.
no problem, I
This is
just
what
got
took me so
confused.
long as talk about confused. I read their contract, then I looked at their per year of costs and I thought, what is this telling me? And I was very confused until I emailed her specifically and said, is this your tonnage fee? Is this your recycling fee? And is this just your curbside pickup?
So according to this,
Yes,
Mellow is the curbside hauler for both curbside waste and also curbside recycling. Recycle is sent to
Yeah.
Casella.
Casella, that's the.
That's the
Ah,
market
thank you.
rate
Yeah.
and bills Mellow. Mellow then in turn forwards the charge to us.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
You can see why I have trouble with these words.
So,
no problem.
Yeah,
so I can't tell from this response if
well,
Mellow just sends the bill to them or if they just add it into their bill
from
from Casella.
They're not charging them any processing billing fee for the Casenta or the trash. Everything is just as it is. It's a very simple contract. And it does have penalties in it, as does Boxford's.
What do you mean?
Like if they don't rectify a problem in so many, so like that whole issue of how do you want to deal with them non-compliance, not coming back to complete a mission or a street. That to me is a whole nother issue that we have to get into, because what would you like? We have 5 days a week for pickup. West Newbury has 2 days a week. I'm trying to remember what Boxford has. I'm trying to think, I don't think it's 5. It's less than 5. I have to look it back up in the contract. So those are the other considerations, because someone said to me in Groveland, I'd like to not be on the Friday pickup anymore, because that's the day when something goes wrong, you're stuck with it until Monday or thereafter.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the other side of that coin is if you go to 4 days a week and then Thursday is gonna be the day where the problems occur and then you're gonna be stuck with it Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, no, but Friday is still like a work day for the hauler. You
So
know
as
what I
long
mean?
as they're willing to correct those issues on Friday, then
Right, well, and that's where the penalties come in. So if I can assemble a folder with all the penalty clauses, what do you,
So, I'm
Like-
sorry, so the penalty is for the hauler? Or for the-
yes,
Okay, so I'm
Yes.
just getting
there's
confused
no
about,
penalty at the incinerator, obviously, done.
no, I was,
Yeah.
just want to make sure I understood
No, the
because we were
penalties are
talking
on the
about penalties for
Like,
people who weren't putting their trash
No,
out
no, 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 no.
correctly. So I just want to make sure I
No,
understood you. Okay,
no.
thank you.
so, and that also might be something that Rebecca might say she wants to handle. She doesn't want us involved in that. I don't know. You know, I'm open on that one. The penalty clause is an important part of the contract.
Yeah.
It's what I've kind of combined that in my head with customer service / penalty. Because if you have customer service and then you don't do it, there should be a consequence. Right?
Mhm.
So, some towns have set it up that, everything goes directly to the hauler that calls everything. And then if it's not rectified, then the penalty kicks in. So. We'd have to, you know. I mean, Rebecca, do you think we have to tie that down, or can we just leave that open as part of the request for proposals?
I think you can leave that part open for now. I think it makes a lot of sense to
Okay.
tie these to the contract. In any contract, you want to make sure that they're delivering the services as promised. So I think just the general understanding that the committee agrees that penalties should be imposed as something that we consider is worthwhile just noting, and then we can decide what those look like in the future.
Okay, so I put customer service penalty for lack of service. And that's to be determined.
Can the RFP go out in two ways? One with combined trash and recycling and one separate trash and recycling?
It can. I know that most recently what happened in the city of Methuen was quite forget the adjective escaping me, but it was newer because it was like an a la carte type of situation, and typically you've never really seen that as part of the hauling and disposal contract. So it is something that municipalities are doing more and more of because they're taking into consideration, you said, composting and other types of items. So it is becoming more of a thing where they're soliciting different services in one proposal, but yet they're not tying it to that one company has to bid on the whole proposal. They can just pick and choose what they want to bid on.
So is that what you want? You want like an a la
Well,
carte?
I'm not sure at this point. I just, it doesn't make sense if we can get a better deal on recycling and a better deal on trash collection separate as opposed to together,
We discussed
We've been
that
talking about
before.
that too,
you
yeah.
know, I
That
mean,
It might make
RFPs.
sense to separate it out.
Mhm.
but
Plus
if,
you really can determine what they're saying. Like
Right.
they don't commingle.
So are we saying we won't, I mean, I thought originally we'd want to separate them, but now I'm open.
Well, I guess. it's
that's
to
why
see-
I think the wording of the proposal or the request should be, they should submit it both ways. Or the applicant can submit it both ways. They can either submit for trash and recycling, they can submit trash, they can submit recycling. I think the a la carte way may be the way to go.
Yeah,
Well, except I think you want a hauler. Now you're talking about two haulers then?
Potentially.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay.
I mean, if
Okay, so
Casella is
So we talked
offering
about that in the
them,
beginning, when we first started talking about RFPs.
We talked about how that might give us a better cost
Right,
savings
so is,
and better
I
control.
think you're thinking that's what West Newbury's doing, is that there's two trucks in there.
well, it sounds like Mello is picking it up, but delivering the recycling to Casella.
That's what I'm understanding too.
So if Casella said, well, we'll just cut out the middleman and pick it up ourselves and save you guys, I don't know, $100,000 on the contract, let's just say for round numbers. All right, so then we'll cut off the middleman. I mean, it saves the town $100,000. So that would be the right thing to do, I think. But if the cost is the same, then it doesn't really matter that we have one hauler picking up and delivering to two different places.
Right,
So, but if it came down to it, that there was a significant cost savings to have two different haulers picking up trash and recycling, then it wouldn't, I think we'd be remiss in not considering that.
right, okay,
And it might even be more of a savings if the recycling hauler does it every other week.
Week,
And
Correct, yeah.
right, if it's a. Okay, so why don't we make that a motion then? That will, in the request for proposal, will allow for combined and for separate on the haulers.
So moved.
second,
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor?
uh,
Is it unanimous? Yep, with one absent. Okay, so allow for two separate haulers and combined.
Wait, tell me the wording again. RFP to include,
That you can respond to the request by offering to haul either trash or recycling only, or both. You can respond to in both ways. You give us two
Or
bids.
combined.
or combined, thank you,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So, And can we agree to go to bi-weekly recycling pickup? Because if we go to the really big thing, I think we should take recycling out of the week.
As an option, but I guess I
Yeah,
wanna
I'd like
see
to
what their
find
cost
out.
savings are.
Well, we're going to the little, yeah. So, okay, so you want to look at recycling both as weekly and bi-weekly?
Yes,
Okay, let's make a motion on that then.
so moved, weekly and bi-weekly recycling investigation,
Yes.
No, it's a
Second.
request for proposal. We want to know
RFP.
weekly versus bi-weekly. What's the diff? Okay,
Who seconded it?
I do.
Jen, did. Any more discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll say it's unanimous with one absent. Okay, so, I'm just gonna jump a little bit.
Oh my God, I had a thought.
So here's the thing, we need to move
That's
into
good.
with just a little bit.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
About the Covanta?
That's
is
an
the-
incinerator now, I know.
Is that the incinerator that's in Haverhill?
Yes.
Okay, that's Haverhill, okay, good.
And
Where else?
are there because I believe there's concerns about the Haverhill incinerator related to environmental justice?
It's possible?
I'm sure there are.
Because it's in a primarily poor
Neighborhood,
neighborhood.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where else are they gonna put it?
Well,
Well,
this is the problem.
my
with the
guess would
jobs.
be that every incinerator has, yeah.
Well, so my understanding from all the reading I've done on various resources is that they're not going to be repairing these incinerators as they,
That makes sense, as they age out.
yes.
So eventually you wouldn't be. able to-
I wouldn't assume that, and no matter what.
I'm not
peop-
assuming, I've
What
read it in
people read,
multiple sources.
even wouldn't, I wouldn't necessarily. Take what you read. With a whole lot of stock at this point, because I worked
I
in
mean,
the
this
town of,
is max.gov.
I understand what my stock says, but I worked in the town of Saugus and I was told several times. That the incinerator
Right.
in Saugus was gonna be closing,
Yes.
and that was
15 years ago.
16, 17, and 18, and here we are in 2024, and that thing has been approved
I
to
mean,
expand its ash landfill, and it's still
I
operating.
want to make sure that we're aware that there could potentially be a problem with the incinerator if we go that route.
All right. No, I mean, it's noted. I mean, trash pollutes the
I
environment.
don't think incinerators are gonna go anywhere because there's nowhere to do landfills anymore,
Nobody
so,
wants a landfill. Yep.
incinerators are gonna be around, I think, going forward.
Right.
Where they're gonna be sited, who
It's
knows?
also a pollution source, so that's the
Yeah.
problem with
It
the
is.
environmental justice
Well,
aspect.
It's like Taylor said, you're not throwing anything out.
Mhm.
You're
I-
putting it in another place and they're trying to diminish it, burn it up. They're not gonna bury it anymore. They're not gonna float it out in the ocean, we hope, but
That's why China doesn't want our recycling anymore.
yep.
I
So
don't want to dump it in the ocean.
we are, yeah, we are.
Blame people for not wanting our trash.
What
Correct.
do you mean? they don't
So-
want our trash?
So that leads me to, couple of thoughts. We need to, and if you read the email, the last thing from, Jane and Westonbury, she talked about, the public outreach is as important as the request for proposals, that, getting people the information. I thought about a lot of different things. I thought about, do we have to start opening up these shared folders? And I just thought how overwhelmed I felt when I opened up Rebecca's folder the first time. No offense, Rebecca. And I saw all this information and I thought, oh my God, where do I start to look through all this? How do I understand this? So I feel like we have to start, maybe where Taylor started, maybe have Taylor come back and do a little.
What happened with
Big.
our MAC agent or whatever that we got the grant for the so many
Oh,
hours? Aren't
maybe
they supposed
that-
to help us with that?
Oh, maybe they could help us with public outreach.
So
True.
I was gonna actually ask at some point in time if we could discuss that. I did have a kickoff, well, not a kickoff meeting, but an internal meeting with the MAC coordinator and Mass DEP about the grant that we received and the technical assistance we would be receiving. And they were looking to have a focus group or committee that they could work with, not just the recycling committee, but maybe a member of the select board, making sure that the Board of Health is represented. I know I said, well, that's kind of what we have for our trash and recycling group. Ironically, we have residents, we have that. So we should look at trying to schedule a meeting where the MAC coordinator and Mass DEP are actually going to come out to on site. And we were planning and hoping we could do something the week of August 19th. So I was wondering maybe if the committee could make or discuss whether or not they would be available for a meeting that week. And we can push it off too, but we just wanted to start getting that initial kickoff meeting so that you're able to have those conversations about pay as you throw and public education and things of that nature.
Correct, so,
I know I'm not here the night that we.
19th is a
I'm
Monday,
around.
yeah.
I'm around most of August. I
I think the 21st is bad for me, but that's it.
Yeah, I can't come at all that week, but then.
but this would just be, educational stuff, right? Not decision, just like information.
Can we do the 26th if Jan could be here?
Yeah,
that's still-
We could do something like that.
I'm on this week, and I don't think I'll be back by Monday.
Well, I mean, just that week, I don't know.
The weekend, the rest of the week. No, just not the 26th.
Maybe we could do August 27th? What,
That works for the-
I just want Jan to be here because she's way smarter than me.
Make it I think I'm on time. I think I always actually work on them.
Oh, are you?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, it probably is that week, actually.
Yeah, we usually go in back in the week before Labor Day, so.
Yeah,
I don't have my work calendar with me, but
I mean, we don't have to do it during the day, but I don't know what time.
Right,
Do it towards the evening hours. I mean, something like, like we did this evening for a regular meeting. To
Yeah.
do it like that would be acceptable. But they do want to come in person. They do want to, have like that initial meeting and get an understanding of what they're going to be doing and how they're going to be interacting with the town. It will be, again, a more formal kickoff with the group.
so this is kind of to help them figure out what they're gonna do. You know what I mean, like, that I'm a little confused about their mission.
So they're gonna come and tell you what they're going to do, what we ask them to do in terms of, we ask them to provide technical assistance to explore pay as you throw. That is what we asked for the technical assistance grant, was to explore pay as you throw and what that would look like and how we could move forward with that if in fact we did want to. That is what the grant is.
Okay.
So
So the
that-
grant,
The MAC coordinator is not for the technical assistance hours that you're speaking of, that for the grant we got, we're not for just general trash and recycling updates. We can coordinate
okay,
our MAC coordinator and ask them questions. Jan has reached out to them as well, and they're very informative and they're willing to work with you. But in terms of
Mhm.
that is something that's specific to the pay as you throw exploration and whether or not we would be moving forward with that.
okay, so we would
What
get,
about the week before then? Like
What?
August 13th, the week, sometime in the week of August, or 12th, I should say.
well, she mentioned August 19th.
Could we possibly do the week before, Rebecca? Because,
Before, but Mass DEP is, the gentleman from Mass DEP is not available. So he said that the week before, which would take us to next week. Or we could do the week after. But again, it really is at your discretion and we can work with the MAC coordinator. But if you have 2 dates that we could give them, I think that would be very helpful in getting that meeting together. And if we wanted to just do one person and then we can report back to that person, if we want to do one person, we could report back to the committee, excuse me, we could do that. So it's not like, you have to be there. No decisions are being made. It's just an informative process. We can try and record the meeting if that would make people feel more comfortable. So it's just a matter of trying to get that initial kickoff meeting so that we can identify next steps and what we're focusing on.
Right, I'm all right with the 27th of Tuesday night if you want.
You're gonna Zoom it too, Rebecca?
We could do something like that, yeah.
Okay,
Would the 27th work for you?
it might, or the
Okay.
28th would be better, but.
Well,
can
I'm
we
either
let,
one.
can we let you know in the next day or so, Rebecca?
Yes,
Yes.
definitely, 100%.
Okay, so everybody give Rebecca 27th or the 28th, whichever's better. I'm indifferent at this point. I'll take either of us, so count me as whatever. Okay, so I did want to kind of keep this moving, because I know there's so many things we can talk about. But we're getting to that point where we have to just start to kind of, I think, make some measured steps. So, we can absolutely use our public access television, and I've been told that over and over again, and we don't do anything about that. So,
oh, we're meeting on There's a group of us that are
Okay.
meeting about
So
that.
do you want to see if maybe Taylor wants to come back and televise a little, overview, like the fact, how many landfills do you think there are? And, you know, and what she did with us that day, just a really short snippet of that.
Yeah,
But I
we could
thought-
film her doing that.
I thought that was just a really, but kind of make it,
Maybe she has a film of that.
you know. And you wanted them to have a group of you sitting talking about it or stuff? I mean, I'm just saying, just make it like I would say like 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, maybe, just short. You know, can we call these, for your, introducing, for your information, we're trying to now share out information that everybody's been looking at. And this is some of the information we've gathered from Taylor, blah, 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 about landfills being closed. And this is why we've been following the path. So that people kind of understand. where
No,
we're
I totally
coming from.
understand the concept.
Because I
It's,
think the average person, believe it or not, probably has no idea about most of this stuff. And will be very surprised when we tell them they can't use their trash can anymore. They might be very vested in the one. They might have just bought a brand new one that they
oh,
want to buy.
yeah, there's gonna be
You know,
those.
Yes, and so,
Yes,
of it
no,
is
it's
start to
definitely
explain.
numero uno. It's just that it's next week, we're getting together and starting next week? Weekend.
The 6th.
The sixth.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's moving along, but yes, we can definitely talk to
and did
Taylor
you
about.
see in the folder, I put
I can't access the folders.
you can't get to the shared folder?
Farmer Biscuit, Rebecca?
I got
can't.
to it from her email and then I bookmarked it.
Yeah, I'm in my email. I can't do it here either. So, yeah.
So you on her
Well, we can
initial,
do it after.
I'll
Let's finish the
send you
meeting.
her initial email that I used to bookmark it.
Okay,
And then that's how I get to it. Now every
Noted.
time it's just a bookmark.
okay.
Because I'm an idiot. So that, when it comes to computers,
Smart.
I know where I have to
But
get
yeah.
to and get there. How else you could do it? I'm sure there's much more
I mean,
clever ways, but I
yes.
don't know those.
I'm in the committee. I just can't access anything in there now.
I just went to the initial, and I started, now it's at the top of my email every day, Rebecca's initial email, so I'll send that to you. And then I got to it. We'll do it at the end of the meeting after we're
Yeah,
done.
sounds good.
Yes,
So, and that way everybody can get to the shared folder
yes.
from wherever you are.
I used to be able to.
Because I did put pictures of things that they use for visuals that I
Yeah.
thought really cute. And in the big,
Right?
files, I've been listing like, I started actually typing in all the recyclables and then I thought, what am I doing? I don't want to be doing this. So, some of the contracts have simpler lists, some of them are complex lists. So that's when we request for proposals, we want as expansive a list of recyclables as possible, I would think.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Yeah, some I noticed they have plastics just 1 and 2, some of plastics 1 through 7.
right.
So-
Not to mention coated
But-
cartons.
Yeah, so the carts are gonna run probably around $300,000 to $350,000.
Wait, what?
The carts.
Oh, no, I said coated cartons, like the milk.
Oh,
cartons.
yeah.
Wait, the carts are going to cost $300,000 to purchase?
Oh, yeah, probably, yes. I expect that.
Is that both cards or just?
Yes, that's for everybody, yeah. Some, because West Newbury was, or Boxford, one of them was ballparking it. It's somewhere in there. Boxford, I think it was, they ballparked it around 300 to 325. They thought maybe they might be able to get a grant for like $40,000 of it. So what I'm thinking of is a couple of thoughts about the carts. One is that when you move to the automated, we've already budgeted in our town budget for the non-automated pickup. So there should be residual funds, hopefully, in that budget line item as it rolls forward to the first year of automated pickup. And some of that money could be directed toward the purchase of the carts. I mean, this is gonna be up to Rebecca. The other thing would be you could take money from stabilization. I'm buying that right there. West Newbury has something going on where Mello owns them for 10 years and
Right.
then they become the town
Right.
property. We can look at that. There's so many, I mean, the point is you're gonna have to do the cards. I don't see, and people are not gonna pay for their cards. We're not gonna charge them. people.
No, they expect their taxes.
No.
to pay.
Yeah. In Boxford, you do pay, they don't charge you for the bags, but you pay $175 a year for your cart. So you might as well buy it. then you only pay for it to throw out. And in Boxford, I think in maybe West Newbury, most of the contracts have an allowance that if you for some reason need an additional part, you know, your home
Yeah.
business or something, you can buy it, but then there's typically an annual fee attached to it as well. Okay. So then, you know, with the pay as you throw program, you know, you start to say, okay, what, now I'm paying for the trash in my tax rate. Thank you, Groveland. Yes, you've given me a cart, but whoop-de-doo. Now I have to buy my bags too. So I'm paying for my taxes. You gave me a cart, I have to buy my bags. You know, what's in it for me? So one of the thoughts that was brought forward by someone who's was not for the pay-as-you-throw bags was said that, well, if you gave me credits for the bags, if I do the composting program, then I would feel like, okay, fine. Because I think it costs me, I'm trying to think, is it $15 a month or so composting for every other week? It's not that much. It's small. I'd have to look back at Black Earth, but I just set up with them. So I have every other week pickup. They gave me a roll of the big bags for the cart. Then they also give you a roll of little bags to use inside, so you can bag up your, whatever you're throwing out that's compostable. And then they come pick it up. It's not very expensive, but when you think about it, you think, well, why am I paying for this and then paying for trash bags as well? When I'm saving the town, because supposedly if you compost, you're saving 30% of your trash. And I remember, I don't know if it was you, said how much, my husband and I are the only ones in the house, how much composting can you have? Well, honestly, we probably might have more than some other households. Because the leftovers that we don't get through, boom. The vegetables that we don't use up, that start to go, boom. You know, that happens faster than when there was people in the house eating all the leftovers. Had little people eating everything. Now, sometimes they sit and we get to the point where we're not sure how long you've had it. So, I feel like I didn't, getting it picked up in 2 weeks. It's about this tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't full, but it was more than halfway.
Yeah.
So, you know, did a fair amount of composting, I think. You know, so, you know, I wanted to try it out because I didn't want to introduce something to the town unless I had lived through it myself. And I think it, you know, they come and they get it, they pick it up. It's quick, it's fast. Could we save money by having everybody bring their composting to a site and have Black Earth come there and pick it all up at once? I don't know, maybe. Is it a thought? Sure, it's a thought.
What do you do with yard waste?
The yard waste goes down the
You can
highway
take that to
department.
the-
right?
Yeah, but what do you do with it once it's compostable and all
They
of
just
that?
have it in piles. I don't know what they do with it. I think you can go get compost.
Yeah,
from
you
them.
can go get it. It's not really like this.
I think Black
because they
Earth
don't
will
charge
give you a
properly.
bag of compost
But it's
every year
not
during
really
the
bad.
program, something like that.
Black
But
Earth
if
compost
Black-
is wonderful.
It is. If Black Earth had a receptacle
Yes,
at
the
the
highway
town
department.
yard, yeah,
Yes,
that's something that they've said they could do.
okay,
But somebody would have, you know, everybody would have to take their stuff there, obviously.
Okay. but, okay, so
But that
just,
is a possibility,
of course it
yeah,
is.
especially now that they are servicing the town, maybe they could
Right.
add that as another feature. I
But
don't know.
when we're going, Rebecca, into the discussion of the pay-as-you-throw program, can we try to factor in some kind of a credit for people that are signed up for composting? And I'm not just trying to save myself money. I just, you know,
Well, I think if you start offering credits, everybody's gonna try to take advantage of it. And
Well,
you
they'll
lose
come-
out on the page you throw.
well, no, fine, if they all do
Yeah, if
composting,
it's
our,
all in
our
the-
trash tonnage will decrease. I
trying
mean,
to divert as much as
Okay.
possible.
right now, recycling doesn't save us. We're looking.
No, I
The
understand
whole
that.
goal in recycling now is to minimize the amount of money we're spending on it. We're never gonna, I don't.
Maybe
see-
this would be a good question for the MAC person, technical assistant.
Yeah,
Would it,
what kind of a credit would you wanna get, if you could, on the pay-as-you-throw bags to encourage people to do composting? I think I can get the prices again. I thought there was like
Because we can't be the first
Aren't
people to
you,
have thought
are
of
you
this.
doing it yet? Are you doing Black Earth? No?
No, I compost in my yard.
What about, are you doing?
I compost in my,
Okay.
because we're vegetarians.
Okay, so, so I'm doing it every other week, and I want to think it's like $15 a month. Or something. It wasn't that much. If you go every week, it's a little more.
Right,
So if you have a family, you might not want that stuff sitting around. So you might want to go every week, so I can get those prices. And there's an initial setup cost. That you pay for the bin.
well, I'm glad you did it, Kathy, because,
Well, I wanted to see what it was
no, it's
like.
important.
Like I said, I was delighted to get 2 sizes of bags. I was very excited because I thought I would just get the one bag and then I'd have to figure out what to gather and stuff.
No,
in.
no, it's a good
This
thing.
allowed me to put the green barrel, which latches tight, in the garage and keep a smaller bin in the kitchen.
Right,
But I just dump you
Well,
can
it's
even
all
keep
good.
it on
It's
your
all
counter. You can even, because the bags are small and you can just chuck them and
and you haven't had any trouble with them not picking it up or anything like that?
nope, they've only picked up once, but they picked up on the correct day. I
Nice.
put my little thing out
Yeah,
there.
we gotta find out how many people signed up. I'm excited about it.
I am too. I was,
It's good.
I was thrilled. And then, like I said, this could be, I know that paying for trash bags is not high on everybody's list, given our taxes.
Oh, I did
Um,
return,
you know,
that it was 26.
what's that again?
You said 26 people have signed up though, so far.
Okay.
So they
Okay.
started it with only 26, that's
Right,
amazing.
so if we offer incentives through the Pay As You Throw
That's
program,
super.
that would probably increase that a little bit. And also just, I can take a picture of the bin so you can kind of see that it's not just this flimsy little.
No, I've
Yeah.
seen the bins. I know.
They're,
what
they're
they are.
well constructed,
Oh,
they
yeah.
do latch tight so that you're not,
Yeah.
they're not smelling up my garage, at least not yet.
Well, plus the animals don't get into it
Mhm.
when it's out on the street. Well, thank you, Rebecca, for getting in touch.
Yep. Okay, so we're running over a little. I do think that we should start to think when we're ready for it, to go to, say, the library at some point during the daytime and have an informational meeting there. Council on Aging,
Oh, yeah, library COA, yep,
I would expect even Nichols Village, I mean.
yes,
Yes, and, the Groveland, Housing,
yes. Oh
River
my God,
Pine?
you're so smart.
Yes,
And then
yes.
what about,
and then Whitestone, if we can get somebody to host a coffee over in Whitestone.
oh yeah, I've never
Um,
been there. Or like we have gatherings at the Historical Society sometimes. There's a
Yep,
whole
the
group of
historic-
people that go over there.
Well, the Washington Hall would be a great place
Exactly.
for that side of town to say, stop by, we're going to have some people there. Hopefully by then we'll have real more precise information on, from technical assistance so that we can really explain to them
Mhm.
what it would cost and what it would save. But just looking at the summary sheet, what I'm anticipating when we look at where our curbside pickup is high, right? Boxford has 2,700 households. And then they switched to Mellow, went to 583, we're at 542, plus we're paying a processing fee on recycling, I have down $110 a ton. We're not being charged contamination or residual fee that I see. I was able to tie out to our bills with the trash at $90 a ton, the curbside pickup at 542 divided into 12 months. And the recycling at $110. We're paying a lot.
But why is Oxford so high?
What do you mean, their pickup costs?
Yeah.
Well, they
Compared to
have
ours.
more households than us, 2,700,
Okay.
and it's
Should probably put that
automated.
on here.
2,700 households and how many years is ours?
Rebecca thought 2,300,
And how many is West Newbury?
16 or
1,600.
1,700.
Ah.
We can probably off the state side somewhere get the more precise numbers
Okay.
to know.
We should probably include how many businesses are being picked up curbside as well.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I don't think we pay for the businesses. No, that's
There aren't any businesses in town that get picked up curbside.
not by us.
Okay,
They would have to do their own.
because
We have dumpsters and things.
But Rebecca's toned those down. We've got like one
Yeah.
here.
so the businesses
Yeah, but we mean
down
for the businesses.
in the square and
They do
the
their own
rest,
thing.
like where your place and ours used to be in those places,
I
they
think
don't have curbside?
they don't get our
Cause,
curbside.
Rebecca, do you know?
I don't think so.
West Newbury said they had,
Rebecca, do you like
1,600.
restaurants in town get curbside trash pickup from us?
That's a good question. I think that the majority of them do have dumpsters, but like David is saying, I think that there might be a few smaller businesses that actually do put out
Okay.
a recycling bin. But some of the larger ones, like if you look at the salon by your place and ours, there's a dumpster over there. If you look at in the back at Pub 97 in those areas, there are dumpsters for those businesses, but I would say that we would need to look a little bit closer to see if there are any other smaller businesses that are being picked up.
Okay, so we don't pick up those dumpsters.
no, I wouldn't expect you to pick up the dumpsters. but
Right, okay, that's like,
Approximately 1,600 residents / businesses are collected curbside is what West Newbury is saying. So that's why I'm just saying, if we have any businesses that are being collected, then we should
okay, we should find
consider, we
that
should
out.
find that out.
Yeah, okay,
A lot of that
okay.
is in the contract too. Forget exactly what it says. but it
Smaller.
does talk about-
Only not larger businesses, that wouldn't be allowed.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And like the schools. the same
Right.
thing.
The schools
Right.
do their own thing, yeah, yeah. Okay, all right, so. We've made good progress. We're going to go meet with the technical people next month, so that would be that. And, I mean, should we just have the whole committee meet that day? I mean, might as well, right? I don't see why not. How about approval of the minutes?
Motion to approve. Can I approve my own minute?
Sure.
Motion to approve the minutes for June 18th.
Second,
Anybody concerned? No? Okay, all in favor? Okay, the minutes are done. I don't have anything that's not anticipated. I just think we have a lot to think about. So start thinking in terms of
Tasks.
chunking this information out and giving like some kind of a folder that anybody could take and go to a coffee at somebody's house, meet at the Washington Hall, go down to the fire department and maybe one night when they're meeting, if they don't mind. And
It sounds like we're having an election.
well,
So, but I like it. I like
It's
how this is.
it's just outreach. Anybody that says, no, we don't want to hear from you, fine, can't.
Think about how to.
You can't march into their offices if they don't want you there. But,
I mean,
Cub
maybe
Scouts, Girl
maybe
Scouts, youth.
the coffee shop would let us have a little table there for a morning.
Yep, you could do
What's his
that.
thing? Perk,
Right.
ultimate perk.
Yeah, ultimate perk, yeah, so. I think the main thing that I've read about with other towns is just, there's a lot of outreach that goes on. Like you narrow down what you want to put in the request for proposal, fine, but. Assume most people aren't even thinking along these lines,
Yeah.
don't even understand why we're doing this. Like, what's your problem?
This
Why
is
you-
true.
Why are you changing anything? I just want my trash picked up. Deal with it. So now we're gonna have to help them get the buy-in,
Mhm.
get the buy-in.
Schools. How do we reach out to, say, Bagnell and Pentucket?
Well, it would be great if in
Like
their
if we reach out
science,
to the kids.
yeah, if they, in their science programs, if they could start to talk about the need to compost and recycle and things like that, that would be fantastic. In the elementary school, that could be great.
Yeah.
companion. And, I've given information to Whittier from Black Earth on how they could go into it themselves. If we want, we can forward that same information to any place that has a kitchen that makes meals. So that
Right.
would be Bagnell, the restaurants in town as well. Anywhere that they can focus it on a kitchen, so you can make sure that what's going into the compost is only the stuff that should be there. So they wouldn't want it out to meet the kids yet,
Okay.
but in where the meal prep is going on. And if they do meal prep, which I assume they do, like we do it with here, depends on what the meal is, there's sometimes a lot of compost that could be thrown out.
Right.
Yeah. But the stuff being thrown out from the lunch trays, that's for another day, is what I'm understanding, because.
It's a little trickier. Can I just make one, I just want to remind everybody, Household Hazardous Waste Day.
Okay, and what day is that?
Is our second time we're doing it, September 21st this year, 9 to 12. at Perry Way, the Newburyport, city yard, and just want to remind everybody, the information is on our website, on the reciprocal calendar under trash and recycling.
Mhm.
And if anybody wants to volunteer, they can talk to me. 'Cause we will need
We need volunteers.
Is that Newburyport Day?
Newburyport, West Newbury, we do it together.
Good. Okay.
I might be able to.
How's it on?
Oh. We did it with, Jim Lafferty and stuff last year. So we had like 4 people. Yeah, great. Think about it.
Maybe we could get a camera down there.
I have the camera at my house.
Okay, capture some of this on, no, so people know. I mean, when you say hazardous waste day, I bet you a lot of people have no idea.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
this will be perfect.
Yeah, we could definitely do a PSA or, some
Yeah, that would be
footage down
good.
there. If
Do so, if it's okay with
it's
him,
helpful,
I
I wanted
think
to
some,
jump in before Chris from the cable department, we're more than happy to do whatever kind of informational outreach with you guys for this, for in whatever format you need, if you want to do 10 or 15-minute thing instead of like an hour-long program that,
Yeah.
a bunch of
I
people.
think
Or
short
we could do
snippets.
both, or we could do, stuff that's geared just where it's like, 30-second or 1-minute bulletin board thing that runs. 100 times a day,
What?
whatever.
That's
Yeah.
We could do several different,
Some of the picture
packages
things,
on it.
maybe if you like any of
30
those stuff,
seconds.
just get in touch with me and we'll figure out how to do it.
that would be great. But I just think, to some degree, you've got to assume the hazardous waste day, people are like,
Show and tell.
That's
they
the
don't know, they have
26th.
no idea. Yeah, so maybe
21st.
21st.
getting some film on it, as to, showing what's going on and what people are bringing in there and getting rid of. I know it sounds goofy, but.
Yeah.
Well, last
just-
year it was very successful. We had a lot of Groveland people come. I mean, a lot of
So
people, you
people-
inherit this stuff sometimes. You
Right.
buy a house and there's.
All that stuff, yes, I understand.
Oil-based paints like
Yeah.
half full and everything else.
Right,
And
right.
really the key though, because it does cost, there's a charge for it and it's only cash or check. And
Okay,
people, that's one thing to really make sure people know. You can't use your credit card.
yeah,
But the best thing you can do is combine with your neighbors. Because
Ah.
it's more expensive if you just bring it. a little
oh,
bit.
well, that's an interesting
So that
thing.
information is
So-
on the website, but I think
Neighborhoods
because we don't
combined,
want people to get upset. They drive all the way there and then they
Oh, yeah.
realize that they can't use their debit card, credit card, they have to have a cash or check.
yeah,
Do you know how many cars you did last year?
Wow, from Groveland?
Just overall?
It was non-stop,
okay, so
non-stop.
for our next meeting, obviously,
I
that
don't
will be a
remember.
highlight. Because it'll be
Yeah.
coming up around the corner.
Right.
You have any pictures or anything you could show people, what they could bring? Do they have like a poster or anything?
I can look around for that.
Yeah, because if we could show that
Like
up
I
on
said,
the
the
TV and have
original-
We
a,
could run that on the.
yeah,
That would
we
be
can
good.
run
Send me
it.
the info.
Yeah, just,
There's a flyer, I'm sure they
Yeah.
have a flyer.
Because there's
Sure.
stuff, you don't want to bring any latex. None, because that you can dry out and put in the trash. But it's oil based and that kind of thing, and then you have, things that you can't bring.
Right.
So-
It just because it doesn't say latex on it, doesn't mean it's not water based.
So we
Anything
get
that be cleaned up with soap and water, you can dry out and then
no,
throw
not
it.
that. Stephanie goes back.
Do you know who the,
Yes.
do you know who the vendor is for the event?
This year, no, I'm not sure who they
Yeah.
hired.
But anyway, the more awareness and information we get out there that people understand there's ways to get rid of stuff, the better. 'Cause I mean, personally, I wouldn't have a clue, so, they used to do it here. And I think the Boy Scouts used to do something, I forget what, electrical something.
Electronics recycling.
Yeah, something, yeah, and I don't know if they do that anymore, but,
Yeah, I don't know if they have the same vendor they had last year. But,
yeah,
It's expensive, it's really expensive to get rid of this stuff properly,
Yeah.
and that's why there is a charge.
I have a really dumb question about the recycling that we have right now, which is if we have one thing that contaminates the barrel, everything gets tossed out from that barrel. Is that how that works?
well, to be honest, the bear, it's single stream, they're dumping everything in,
So you know how they say if you have one, the wish cycling thing is bad because if you put something in that's not actually recyclable, everything gets tossed out from the load, is my understanding. Is that what
Well,
they said?
You know,
So that's what I wanted to clarify.
I'm wondering if we should go to, I'm not kidding about this, we should
I
go
want
to a
to.
recycling center and actually watch
Yes,
this in action.
because what does
because
that mean,
What
contaminated
I've
stream?
read is that they assume a certain amount of contamination, and then I'm assuming the contamination fee that's in our contract will only apply if for some reason they had good evidence that we were above that.
I would be beside myself if one item in a barrel.
But this is what they,
I understand that, but if one item in a barrel, unless it's spilled out and contaminated everything,
I
Like
don't
what,
think
how can
by
it? be still?
contamination though, I mean like somebody threw a plastic bag in there where it's not supposed to, you know what I mean? Like
So
something non-recyclable.
it's going through a sorter.
Right,
Yes,
Right.
They can pull that bag out.
The big thing
That
with
is,
the plastic is that it gets mashed up in
It-
there.
Oh, I
There's that
understand,
stuff
It-
but I'm
and
talking
it
about.
destroys the equipment,
non-recyclable
right.
Item.
but if they're charging us a fee because of one tiny item in a truckload of stuff, that to me is unconscionable.
Well, that's why I'm noticing there's no contamination clause or fee. Like, I
Correct.
think that's important because, exactly, like
I don't see
and
that
I
in
like
the
the
other
idea of a field
contracts. I see it in ours, but I have not seen it
But
applied.
again, it's
well, who knows?
No,
Exactly.
I've been looking at a lot of.
like the
things.
assumption of how much is contaminated.
Well,
You
yes,
know, it's an
I
assumption.
know. So,
It's a good thing to.
and
look
there's
at.
also something called a residue fee, and I don't even know what that is, but we're not getting charged that either yet.
That's if somebody doesn't clean out or rinse out a container or something.
Residue, I didn't even think that way.
I mean, that's also,
So, yes, we have a lot of little things that are in this contract that are not in other town contracts, when you put them side by side, so maybe. Ultimately, what we'll try to do is have a notebook with the top contracts that we like
yes,
here. You know, have a few copies of the notebook, so that when you want to, you can flip back and forth, because I find that. You know, I jump back and forth all the time, and now I'm just trying to zone in on the ones that seem to have the best. Things covered, you know, like they cover the
Yes.
town liability wise. They have a clause for customer service. A penalty when that doesn't happen, a way for people to get through to them when they have a
Yes.
problem.
yes.
You know,
I mean, it's a little bit like,
because these are the problems we've had, is people can't get through the 800 number. You get on hold forever.
But I think too, you know, helping people to not be confused about what can and can't go in the recycling is really important too, that whole education.
Well, the problem is,
Because I don't think.
the
you
less
know,
restrictive
I don't
you
think
are, the
people-
better then.
Maybe realize, you know, what a problem it is to put everything in a plastic bag. I mean, every single company says, do not put your recyclables in a plastic bag because it causes. a huge
people
problem.
still.
Yeah,
Because
so-
they have recycling bags. My husband bought them, the blue bags, and he said, these are for recycling. They say recycling bags.
yeah,
And I said, they don't want those.
yeah. But just think, most people, if they know that causes a real problem, they're not gonna do it.
Right, of course they're not, but they don't know, because now the
Right.
supermarket is selling your recycling bags.
Right,
I
exactly.
said, oh, okay, I'll buy those. I'm good. I'm gonna buy recycling bags. It's just these kind of things we need to get out there, but also looking at the list, where other towns have a wider list for that allows for more recycling. It's much easier when they don't restrict it too much. You know, the time you have to start looking at a plastic and trying to find a number on it, I'm like, it's plastic. What's the problem?
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
And this was the
Okay.
mellows, it was 1 through 7.
Plus,
Alright.
like, mass recycling. Recyclingma.com, like nips are not recyclable because they're too small, for example.
They go through.
Okay. We do need to adjourn because we're over.
Okay, yes.
Can I get
Motion
into-
to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Right.
Unanimous, that means adjourn at 7:31. Sorry about that, guys.